Tabletop Spotlight, brought to you by Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy. Hey everyone, I'm AdamHarry from Bella Souls with
Michael from Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy.
and we're back with another Tabletop Spotlight. Dude, Titan's Grave, huh?
Yeah, I figured I would bring by the Titan's Grave, the Ashes of Volcana book. This was featured on Geek and Sundry's show.
Yeah, Will Wheaton was playing.
Will Wheaton did play. Yeah, it's a really cool book. They released it after the show, or around the show's release. It's got a really cool world, some cool character options. It was a really fun thing, so I want to bring it by and show it off.
It's not brand new, but it's still really cool stuff.
Yeah, and with the second season rumored to start sometime soon, I thought it'd be a good time to bring it by.
Sounds like a good time to me. Well, let's stop stalling and go ahead and take a look inside the book.
Motion.
Yeah. All right, so we've got Titan's Grave here, the Ashes of Volcana. Sorry. I'm new. I don't know what to do here.
So like we said, it's the source book for the Titan's Grave show that came out on Geek and Sundry, and you can see it's actually a system for the Fantasy Age.
Yeah, okay.
Which Green Ronin publishes, and they help make this book as well.
And again, Will Wheaton played this on. I don't know, it wasn't Tabletop, but it was their whole series.
It was a similar sort of show that they did for. It was like they made a certain goal on their their Kickstarter for the season, so they made the show. Yeah. And these are characters in the game. I don't remember her name specifically, but that's Jeremy. He's a robot. Nice. Characters from the show, and of course on the back you get a look at sort of a read up of the world, and you can recreate the adventure, of course, from the show.
Sure, yeah.
And you do need the Fantasy Age basic rulebook to do it, so it's more of a source book, like I said.
Okay, so this is a source book for. Okay.
Yeah,
but at the same time, this isn't set in a completely fantasy era.
No,
I mean, I see flying cars here. It looks a little Blade Runner-esque.
Yeah, this is like a sci-fi fantasy mix. The way they describe it on the show is like kind of like Thundar the Barbarian,
nice,
heavy metal or kind of stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's really cool. Obviously made by Green Ronin with Geek and Sundry. Yeah. And works with their Fantasy Age system.
Okay, cool. Just for the folks at home, real quick, can you talk about the age mechanic, just like the dice?
I can.
They're slightly different, right?
I can, because I came and I did it when we talked about Dragon Age.
That's right.
It's a 3d6 system.
Yep.
And it has certain. If you roll doubles on the dice, you get certain stunt points that you can use to do cool stuff. Critical hits and cool extra abilities and stuff like that. So
it's just a really cool mechanic.
Dragon Age runs off the exact same system with a couple changes for the world.
So theoretically, you could run a Fantasy Age game and mix in some Dragon Age and some Titan's Grave. Just if you wanted to get crazy.
If you wanted to make your own crazy world, you could totally do that.
Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Set that volleyball up. Michael just spiked
Whoever wants to do that, let us know. But you got some really nice art in this book, which I really enjoy. Obviously, the big blank white pages.
That's so you can draw your own art.
You draw your own world. Will Wheaton, of course, did his own foreword for it about the show, which is really cool. And then you get your table of contents. And you can see here, the first chapter is more of like a world building, second is characters, and then chapter 3 gets into the adventure they did on the show. So it's mostly an adventure book, but it's got a lot of setting too.
Okay, does this have any probably new races, classes, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's got some interesting stuff. You can see the character creation has their custom race they did, which is Saurian, which is like lizard men basically.
Nice.
Which the character on the front actually is I think like a half Saurian.
All right.
But yeah, they've got a lot of interesting stuff they did to add to sort of the system that it's still sort of new, the Fantasy Age system.
So the whole Volcana system, this whole first chapter is just setting the stage for the adventure later on, and also just the whole world building aspect, right?
Yeah. If you in the show, they sort of get a little bit into the backstory of the world, sort of the world ending not once, but twice basically, and being restored. Heroes being,
actually, you flip back. They have a timeline we can show real quick.
They have a brief timeline. There's a map of
nice. I love maps, by the way. Fantasy
the city
maps.
state of Nestora, which is actually where part of the adventure takes place, and it goes through it all in this book.
Okay. One more page, I think, is the.
One more, if I can flip. There's another map.
Nice. I like
maps. Are great.
Here we go. So you said there was 2 cataclysmic events.
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah, so you got that one, and there was the Prophet, the Chaos Wars, and stuff like that. So it was just crazy.
Yeah,
there's a lot of crazy backstory.
It's a crazy world. They got all sorts of, like I said, science and fantasy and magic and all sorts of crazy mixed up stuff. It is a little bit like Blade Runner, actually. A little more like fantasy, but it's sort of got that Blade Runner like shade to it.
Nice.
So yeah, flipping through.
We'll keep going.
We can just flip through a couple things. They got some, like I said, some really nice art.
Yeah.
This is. She's another character from the game. I believe this is. I want to say Laura Bailey's character. I'm not sure.
She's taking his head off.
Yeah, exactly. But they got a bunch of cool art and stuff like that.
Laura Bailey's from Critical Role too, right?
She is indeed. Yeah. Yes. Great show, by the way. Yeah. But then they have the character creation that we mentioned earlier. They the Fantasy Age system, like I said, is required for this. So you kind of need to have a basic rundown of how Fantasy Age works. But they do have the lizard folk Saurian race that they created. And then they have extra sort of modifications and new focuses for abilities and stuff you can be good at, like blasters and stuff that they've added, of course, in here.
Yeah.
And of course, science and fantasy equipment that's good for the world, like blasters and battle armor.
More armor and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Cybernetic limbs. Who doesn't want cybernetic limbs?
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I want robot legs.
That'd be awesome.
But the operation is really expensive.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Nobody's going to get that reference. Moving on. So there's tons of new equipment in there, new gear, stuff like that. And again, this is all compatible. So I guess if you really wanted to do the Dragon Age thing, you could do some crazy cybernetic
you
dragon.
really could, yeah. If you wanted to like mash two different books together, you could do something like that. It'd be really interesting. Like I said, then chapter 3 is basically where they go through the adventure that's on the show.
Okay.
Almost page for page and word for word to an extent, but yeah, they really go through the adventure that the players did on the show. So if you want an idea of how to run it, definitely check out the show.
We won't ruin everything here.
No,
we're going to do spoiler alert here.
Not going to get into huge spoilers on the show or anything like that. But there is a lot of cool.
You should definitely watch it though. If you're going to run the game, I would recommend going through the book, watching the show just to get an idea of what kind of how it went down. So
there's some interesting riddles and puzzles and stuff. So
actually, I really like games that have little riddles. One-off like RPG games. I love the combat. I love the RPGing part of it. But if you throw a riddle or two in there, that's always fun.
Oh yeah, and then of course they have the characters from the show in the back. Ankia, that's her name. That's what it was. So yeah, it's really interesting. You can add them maybe as NPCs in your own game.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool to do. And of course, it adds you, where next after you finish this adventure. What do you do next?
And then also, I wanted to point this out. They actually have. We're not going to open it up, but they actually comes with a map, a fold-out.
It's property of the Beer Baron.
Boom.
Yeah, he was an NPC from the show. He's
Beer
pretty cool.
Baron.
So.
Nice.
Yeah, that's Titan's Grave. It's a really awesome book. Like I said, mostly an adventure, but also a pretty good source book for the world.
Yeah, and seems like a really interesting setting to play around.
Interesting setting, yeah.
Sure. Well, let's hop out for a really quick recap. Well, that was Titan's Grave, the Ashes of Volcana.
There you go.
Yeah, nice. I got it.
Got it that time.
Yes.
It's like Archaon all over again.
Right. No, that was a trip.
That was a good time.
Very cool looking book. Great source book, great system.
Yeah, if you're
for the Fantasy Age stuff.
If you're into the Fantasy Age system, which should be, because it's really cool. Yeah. Kind of an alternative to maybe D&D or Pathfinder.
I love the 3D6 mechanics, but that's the whole thing.
It's really interesting. It's a really cool world. Maybe if you're tired of like Numenera or you don't want to play Shadowrun or stuff like that, it's sort of a blend of all those sorts of things.
If you need a break from D&D. It's a great side game too.
And like I said, it does come with the adventure that was in the show on Geek and Sundry, but you don't necessarily have to run that if you don't want, or you can just pull bits and pieces out of it if you really need it.
And again, if you want to mix and mash everything together, that's the cool part about the Fantasy Age core system is it supports not only Titan's Grave, but also Dragon's Age, which we've seen for the BioWare game, obviously. Yeah. And then, of course, the Fantasy Age core rules.
The generic generic, but the simple, basically fantasy system. So it's really cool. You can, like you say, combine them or take bits out of one and the other. So really cool book.
Let's crunch the numbers real quick. This is from Green Ronin Publishing.
Yep. This is Green Ronin did this with, of course, collaboration with Geek and Sundry. And this is going to be Fantasy Age. This is going to be $24.95 for this book. So you add that on top of the Fantasy Age core rulebook, which is maybe $50-$60. Not too bad for a cool new system.
Cool system, new adventure involved, new character classes, new weapons and upgrade.
You can't be a lizard man in D&D. Not 5th edition. Not yet.
Not yet. But you can here.
You can right here.
So yeah, it's in stores right now, right?
Can't get that anywhere else. Yes, it is available right now. You can find it at finer retailers everywhere.
Bingo. Well, this has been another Tabletop Spotlight. I'm AdamHarry from Bell Souls.
I'm Michael from Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy.
Thanks again for watching. Have a good one. Tabletop Spotlight brought to you by Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy. Thanks for watching.